Hi there, everyone. Welcome back. We continue with Parshat Vayishlach this week. The Parsha begins by sharing with us that Yaakov is in a little bit of a challenging situation. He gets word that his brother Esav, along with 400 men, are heading towards him as he is returning back to the land of Israel, to the land of Canaan. And he reacts to this the following way: Vayira Yaakov me'od vayetzer lo. He is petrified and just in utter distress about this situation. Doesn't look good. Last time he met Esav wanted to kill him, and now he has an army of men, and this is the perfect opportunity. So the Midrash, Bereshit Rabbah, paints an interesting picture, which I think there are two messages that we can take away from it, and we'll also utilize the commentary of the Matnot Kahuna in his commentary on the Medrash. The Matnot Kahuna was written by Yisachar Berman ben Naftali HaKohen. He was a student of the Ramah, the Rav Moshe Isserlis. There's a tradition that he moved to Israel towards the latter portion of his life, and had a chavruta with a Kabbalist of Rav Moshe Cordovero. So the Medrash begins by talking about how there were only two. There were two great figures, one prophet, one of the Avot, Moshe being the prophet, and the patriarch being Yaakov, who had been told in a situation that they should not fear, that God is with them. Don't worry, you're going to be okay. And ultimately, both of them have a situation where then they are petrified, scared, even though God has assured them they will be okay. I want to pick up, though, in the middle of that midrash, where Rabbi Brechia and Rabbi Chelbo quote Rabbi Shmuel Bar Nachman in the name of Rabbi Natan. And Rabbi Natan is recorded as having said, Ru'uyim hayu Yisrael koloya b'yimei Haman, that the Jews in the days of Haman, yes, the Purim story, were worthy of being destroyed. Were it not for one thing, ilule shenismecha da'atan al da'at hazaken avihen. Were it not that they had relied on the knowledge of their parents, of the forefathers' ideas and knowledge. What did they say? What helped them not be destroyed, not be worthy of destruction? Amru, they said, the Jews of Shushan said, Ma avinu Yaakov shiftichu HaKadosh Baruch Hu v'amar lo hine anochi imach nityarei. Just like Yaakov was promised by God that I'm going to be with you, and yet he was terrified. So we, anu al achat kama v'kama. How much more so? The Jews of Shushan have reason to be scared. Haman seemed like he had all the power in the world, and that there was nothing that was going to stop him. The Midrash continues with which is a little bit of a confusing set of verses from the prophets Yeshayahu and Yirmiyahu, but it's important, I think, actually to understand this comparison between Yaakov and the Jews of Shushan. The Medrash continues and says, "Hu shehanavi mekanteret Yisrael ve'omer lahem." This is like, it is this that the prophet accuses the Jewish people of, and says to them in Yeshayahu chapter 51, "Vatishkach Hashem osecha," that you have forgotten Hashem, who is your maker. Notei shamayim v'yosed aretz, God who is the one who spread out the heavens, and he created the foundation of the earth. Amar lahon, anshitun ma amar lachon. He said to those people, what would you say? What would he say to you? What would he say to you? What would God say to you? Quoting now from Yirmiyahu, Ko amar Hashem, imi madu hashamayim milamala. If the heavens from above, would be measured, and the word imdod would be measured, Im ra'item shamayim shematu va'aretz mitmoteta minitiyat shamayim va'aretz lo haya lachem lilmod ela v'tifached tamid kol hayom. If you see that the heavens are shaking and the earth is shaking from the way that the heavens are inclined and the earth, how that functions, if you just understood how it all works, then you wouldn't learn anything other than, and you are afraid all your days. That's a very, okay, so if you basically, I think what's happening here at the end is that if you really sort of understand all what's happening in the world and the heavens and in the earth, then you'll understand that you should just always be afraid. So we have to unpack what's going on here. It's just a little confusing. Understand that if something seems confusing, it's not because they didn't understand it. It means that we need to understand it, and it's hard to do, to put ourselves in the mindset of a Midrash that was written so long ago. But let's attempt it. So this idea of being afraid, that if we understand God, if we really come to see God, then we will be afraid. We will have fear. And what I think is happening here is that if you're overwhelmed by whatever is the source of the stress, the fear in life, and this is based on the comments of the Matnot Kehuna, he says, if you are so steeped in fear, if you are so steeped in it, kol kach ad shenityashu min hateshua legamre, that you've basically given up hope that there will be any kind of salvation in that situation, then what you are essentially saying is that God's not here in this situation. Right? Not to say that things always work out exactly the way we hope when we are in a difficult situation, but if there is this yeush, that there's no possible salvation from this situation, then we've basically, I think this is what the Midrash is saying, we've basically forgotten who is our maker and who made the heavens and the earth. And when the Jews of Shushan are in their dark hour, as Haman has decreed the destruction of the Jewish people, they could have easily said, see, where's God? This is challenging. It's too much. They're steeped in their fears, and they think that there is absolutely no hope. And we think that there is no hope, whether it's individually or collectively as a Jewish people. So that's when we run into complete trouble, because when you give up hope, it's all over. And what the Jews are able to do in Shushan is look to Yaakov, and look to this moment in Yaakov's life as Esav is bearing down on him, and he's terrified. And he says to God, I don't think I have any merits left. I've used them all up, even though God has assured him. Because this is, and here's the key. The Matnot Kehuna says, Shulamdu miYaakov. What did they learn from Yaakov? They learned from Yaakov something. V'chazru b'tshuva. They learned from Yaakov, and then they repented. V'lo hayu somchen al zechut atzman. Because what did they learn? Don't rely upon your merits of the past. If you're going to rest on the accomplishments of the past, it will only take you so far. And even Yaakov, who was assured by God that he would be okay, did not rest on the merits of his past, and that he was a good person and a good Jew and carried on the traditions of Yaakov, of Avram and Yitzchak. And he didn't rely on the Haftacha Shivtichan HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He didn't rely on God's trust and pride. Yeah, God, you'll come through for me, but I have to be active in making that happen. Think about that moment in the Megillah when Mordechai approaches Esther and says, Esther, you have to go in front of the king. You have to do something and tell him. And she says, I don't know. No, he's not going to. He doesn't like me anymore. And what does Mordechai say? Mordechai says, I believe God's going to help me, but it's going to come from somewhere else if you're not going to do it. We have to be partners with God in bringing about the change that we want to see. And that's what they learned from Yaakov. Yaakov didn't sit back and say, well, God said it's going to be okay. we need to be a partner with God in ensuring that it's going to be okay. That's what the Jews of Shushan learned. And had they not learned that, they would have been obliterated. Maybe literally, and if not literally, well, if you don't rely on God, it's not that much longer until you assimilate into the Persian culture. And this has kept the Jewish people going in the Purim story. I think it keeps us going today, to this very day, that we look to Yaakov and we look at him and we say, what are we going to do to ensure that our future, our success to come, our turning around misfortune comes about through our hands with the help of God and by the hand of God with our help. It's both of us together, God and us. See you Thursday.